What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Box Out Boys podcast. We are the NBA podcast of the people, your home for lukewarm shakes and substandard analysis. I'm Titus Two Shots Dominguez, and with me tonight, it's Chris, the Stats Man Gorman. Hit him with the stats, Chris.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Nas Reed.
Nas Reed.
Nas. Reed. Do
Reed.
you guys think
Nas Reed.
Nas Reed?
Nas Reed. Nas Reed is the stat tonight and getting those lines laid down in this April dewy grass. It's the lawn boss, Joey McCrowski. Get that, Joe.
If this is your first time listening to the podcast, he's referencing lawns.
Oh, yeah. I just said laying them lines down. Chopping them up. Well,
Yes.
We're already off to a good start. Boys, playoff basketball is here. We are excited. Wild ride so far. A few close games, a few blowouts there over the weekend on Sunday, but things kind of righted the ship. Most series are 2-0 right now with, a few at 1-1 and possibly another 1-1 by the end of tonight. We'll see.
Game talk.
Yeah, no game talk.
Game talk.
Yeah, that's why I shut the game off. Otherwise, I would have been game talking that. But let's go ahead and get into it. We're gonna break down the series so far, give some overreactions, give some underreactions, rank these matchups, maybe talk about our favorite players from the early first round, and then of course Joey's gonna close out the Bulls season, which ended.
I think that's a great way to close out this pod.
We'll close out the pod, which ended last week, which we were very confident going back to the last show that the Bulls were going to be playing the Boston Celtics in the first round.
For Game 6, guys. It's going to be
Game
guys,
6.
We were so confident that one of my coworkers who listens to the pod came up to me and said, "Hey, I thought the Bulls have to win one more game to make the playoffs." You guys were like, "You're already talking like they're in. Did I miss something?" And I was like, "No." I'm like, "You didn't miss anything." I'm like, "But they're gonna win."
The Kings also lost too, which we were pretty high on. That.
Yeah,
but I was like, "It's no Jimmy, it's no Rozier. Like the Bulls got this." And he's like, "Oh, okay, cool, sounds good. Like, thanks." I was
see you for Game 6.
I was gonna play some bets on this, and I was like, "Yeah, you should be fine."
Lock it in.
Yeah, got that message about 7:00 on Friday night from him. Was like, "Hey, tough game."
Oh, actually, I actually had a bet. I actually had a stat one. Speaking of betting, if so, consider the first round, all the games, the first game of each matchup. If you had bet on the home team against the spread, parlay the first 7 games or first 8 games, $100 would have won you $17,000. You did the first 7, it would have been $9,000, right? The thing is, you got to do all 8, right? So then it's the Thunder versus Pelicans. The only team that did not cover but still won was the Thunder. So you could have won $17,000, but then you would have lost because the Thunder just could not win by 8.5 points. They won by 4. But crazy that every home team has been winning so far, except maybe right now. Who knows?
So right now, and then a couple last night. Yeah, so let's get ahead and get into it. We'll start with that Heat Celtics series, which is 1-0. The Celtics pants the Heat in game 1 by about 30. I don't know what the final score number ended up being there at the end. But of course, no game talk, #no game talk, kind of struggling tonight. But what did you guys think of that first kind of opening match, and then maybe kind of going into tonight's game? Chris, what were your first initial thoughts?
It was a depancing. That's a great way to describe it. It just felt like they took it out from under them, and the Celtics are not fooling around. They're here to go 12-0 in the East. They'll open this up and then maybe lose in 5 or 6 in the finals. That was kind of the prediction going into it. I still feel that way right now. I mean, I'd be shocked if they lost tonight. I'm not looking at it. It's probably close.
Yeah, we're not looking.
But that's how I feel right now. That's how I still feel. The Celtics are still the top team, and I'm not gonna sleep on them just because might be losing right now without Jimmy Butler and Terry Rozier in the lineup.
I mean, look, the Bulls lost to that team, so they're good.
Yeah,
wow. So
good comp.
Bulls and the Celtics. Careful. All right.
It's good comp. I mean, it's a good comp.
You heard it here.
Joey, what are your thoughts on the Celtics there? Anything beyond that? I
mean,
mean,
on that accord, you might as well swap my prediction of the Bulls getting 2 games for the Heat. So, we'll take that action. But no, I think it's kind of playing out as you would have expected, right? I mean, big blowout, potentially a little bit of a comeback to earth. Maybe they sneak one in. Celtics kind of take a little bit of a night off. Like it's going to happen at some point, I think, especially some of these matchups. with teams who are just like far superior. It's got to happen, right? Again, like we talked about last week, you're not completely saying like, oh, we're just going to go ahead and lose this game, but like you maybe take your eye off the ball a little bit and you
get bored.
You're right.
Get bored.
Right? It's not impossible. It happens. But I mean, there's zero doubt in my mind that Miami is going to falter in at least 5 games in this series.
Yeah, I think I'm with you guys. I mean, maybe this could be the concern with the Celtics is, hey, are they gonna have these moments where they're just kind of not locked in 100%? Because like they lock in game 1, they win by 30. Maybe then they go, all right, yeah, we can pull out the foot off the pedal a little bit here, and then all of a sudden, a team like the Heat, who's feisty, gives you a game, and now you're going, okay, now we gotta play this series, and I think they're gonna run into several, these first 2 series don't look to be very competitive for them. So, whether or not they play 8 games or 10 games, or are they going to play 12 games here to get into the conference finals? We'll see. All right, moving on to maybe another of our least favorite games. I'm not sure where you guys are at on the Cavs Magic. 2-0 to the Cavs.
Jumped. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm going straight down the.
This is the 8th on my list, Cav Magic. You just did my 7th on the list of matchup. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and let's get these ones out of the way. These are a little less exciting. Cavs Magic 2-0 for the Cavs. I guess they wanted that smoke. They really did pick a good series. Maybe we can get into it later. Maybe the Lakers should have done a similar thing here to the Cavs. Joey, any particular thoughts on Cavs Magic, or are you kind of just kind of playing out here?
Yeah, I mean, all the fears about the Magic of the regular season are coming back to haunt them, right? It's scoring, and we've seen playoff scoring down compared to regular season, which kind of fits with everything that everybody's ever talked about in the NBA, right? And regular season is less important and things are different. Defense isn't as intense, and there's not as much of a game plan around some of the star players and some of the actions that teams do. I'm not terribly surprised that Cleveland's got this. I'm kind of more surprised in that they've gotten the fashion that they did. I thought Orlando would be more competitive. I know we all kind of picked Orlando last week, and I think it was more of like the absolute spite, and like the bulletin board material was just absolutely perfect, right? Like, hey, this team lost on purpose to play you guys because they think they can beat you hands down, and for them to go out and lay kind of the 2 eggs that they have and just kind of fall back into that we're not that good offensively. I mean, their defense has been good. The Cavs have not scored well. Like they've held them kind of in check and kept everything relatively together. The problem is that they're just not putting the ball in the hoop, which is kind of an important thing. So I mean, if they come back and win this, that I don't know if I would be like absolutely utterly shocked, because I still don't have a ton of faith in the Cavs. But I mean, the 2-0 lead and the way that they played looks like the Cavs should be able to run away with this at least 4-5.
Yeah, another kind of boring series here. Chris?
Yeah, what happened to Markel? Is Markel Fultz just not a basketball player anymore?
He's getting played off the court is kind of what I'm hearing.
There's no point guard on this team. And like the ball handlers in Franz and Paulo, this playoffs has kind of proven why you still need kind of a short guy.
Look at Conley. Yeah, I was like, look at Conley.
And to kind of manage the offense. So, the Magic, this is a good series for the Magic in the sense that they'll learn a lot from it, at least.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
The offseason. They're still going to get swept. I can't believe I'm shocked how bad the offense is. I thought Paulo can maybe do some things more himself, but he's proven to be a little limited, especially with Evan Mobley, who's an all defensive player, as we know from this podcast. Evan Mobley's pretty good at defense on Paulo, along with Jared Allen and that front court. So it's tough to, but yeah, like it's the Cavs in 4. Let's just get over it.
Cavs in 4. Let's go. All right, moving on here. We got Bucks Pacers, which got knotted up last night, 1-1, as the Pacers came back from a rocky start in game 1 where they looked scared, man. They look a little scared in game 1. But they came back in game 2. Obviously, still no Giannis, and as far as I've heard, no real timetable yet on exactly when he's coming back. But a big win for the Pacers here. Chris, how did you like this, man? Do you think this was a big win for the Pacers, or was this kind of more of just maybe a stumbling block here for the Bucks?
Oh, they needed this. I think this helps the series. Tyrese is still not playing well. Pascal Siakam, I have him as my 4th. I had Josh Hart's number 5. Pascal Siakam's number 4 in terms of rankings this series so far. He's leading the playoffs in points per game at 36.5. He's been out there. He's really shown that playoff experience present for this team.
Playoff Pascal.
Playoff Pascal is alive and well.
It's a thing.
Damian Lillard, everyone's giving him credit for scoring 35 points in the first half. He scored. I get it. He had 35, but he finished with 35. Isn't that not a little?
That's an issue.
Something. I don't know. Like
that's tough.
That's tough.
That's tough. So that's why, like, when the Pacers won this game, I'm like, I kind of, like, it's not like Lillard didn't want to score in the second half of the first game. He got stopped or whatever.
Anyways, they can figure something out. You know what I mean? And they figured out maybe how to defend him. And then
maybe. I mean, he got 34 in this game. Yeah. But
he did another sort of disappearing act in the second half too.
He did. He's a front runner. Can we all say it?
He's a front runner.
I mean, I know Bobby Portis was calling the Pacers a front running team, but like you got a front running star there, Bobby. I don't know, man. Like you're gonna miss Drew a lot, and I think you're realizing that now. So, I mean, I still think the Pacers are gonna win this series if Giannis doesn't come back. But I think Giannis is even more important than, especially after game 2, than maybe what people thought.
Joey, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think this game was huge for the Pacers. I mean, they looked absolutely out of their league in game 1. Looked kind of just shocked and not ready for the bright lights. Kind of thought, the in-season tournament, might have been like a good kind of like, moment for them to kind of build off of. But they came out in game 1 and they looked like they hadn't seen the bright lights yet, which I guess really they hadn't. But yeah, game 2, it looked like completely different. The pace was up. All the things that we've come to talk about the Pacers for seem to kind of find their way back. I agree. I think without Giannis, they might find a way to win this series. And this might be one of the Bucks might become like the new 76ers. And that's funny because Doc is there, but like they might become like one of the great, like, what ifs, or like, should they have won a bunch more? Like you have this
what if they didn't hire Doc Rivers?
Right. Like, what if you didn't hire Doc Rivers? What if you didn't trade Drew Holiday? Like you have all these things like, hey, you got Giannis. And I mean, Giannis had one of the greatest statistical seasons of all time. Like, and he's not even in the top 3 for MVP because of just the way that the Bucks played. Like, they were not a good team. If the Bucks were the 1 seed, I think you're probably talking about Giannis in that conversation, but he's not. And, I think the Pacers are kind of finding the little things that everybody's kind of been worried about the Bucks having. And it's speed and its ability to play defense. And, they're exploiting it in game 2, at least. Curious to see how it looks when they go back to Indiana. And if Giannis doesn't come back, I think it's Indiana, especially if, you won a game without Halliburton playing good. And that's
2 games. Oh yeah. 1 game. Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, I think this next game, obviously game 3s are always the pivotal game 3, right? But man, if the Pacers get this one, if they get game 3, then it starts that we could start talking about, all right, are they going to be seriously win this series? And then the limelight's going to turn to the Bucks about like, all right, all that Dame trade and everything that happened. Whoa, you know what I mean? That offseason doesn't look nearly as good as it does, and then what happens going into this offseason. So very interesting there for sure. But probably the best series of the Eastern Conference so far. Knicks Sixers. Easily the best series. 2-0 to the Knicks. As Embiid said, could have been 2-0 Sixers. It was very close. Some wild finish there last night for the Sixers, who coughed up the game at the end there. I think they were leading by like 4 or 5 with a minute left, and then that's about it. Joey, what are your thoughts on this series? Obviously been a great series. Brunson hasn't really turned it on just yet, but what are you thinking here?
Yeah, it's been the best series, and you could talk all you want about it being the best series for like the wrong reasons, missed calls, no call timeouts, last 2-minute report saying 2 fouls on Maxey, but like, I don't know. Like you said, Brunson hasn't been playing that good, and like, you shouldn't be in these situations to begin with. Like, I don't know. I hate the ref talk. I hate we can talk more too about when we get to the Lakers Nuggets, but like, yeah, in that moment of that game 2, when it's just chaos, the last few, 30 seconds there, like, was somebody trying to call a timeout? Sure. was there a whole lot of shit going on that they were trying to pay attention to? Yeah. Like, it's not like, don't put yourself in that position. Like, don't make a pass where you have to be diving on the floor when you're up 3 or whatever it was at that point, up 2, when you like, just don't do it. Or Tyrese Maxey, like he said, hey, maybe I should have called timeout. Maybe I should have held on the ball a little longer. Like, game awareness, those things matter.
It's playoff reps.
It's playoff reps. It's been an exciting series. I think it's been exciting because it's been just kind of chaotic and kind of fun, and it's in Madison Square Garden, and like, the game 2 just kind of like encapsulated what the Knicks are and can be, which kind of brings back, like, was that not the most like Tom Thibodeau win you've ever seen, right? Like, your star player is kind of struggling. You've got these scrappy guys that are just kind of hanging in there, and at the moment that it counts, they're diving on the floor, they're wrestling for the ball, and then you find DiVincenzo gets 2 cracks at it right off of a big guy getting an offensive rebound and just hustling and working his ass off, and you manage to scrape out a game. Like, is it the most like Thibodeau Knicks type thing? It bodes well. I mean, the Sixers, like, Embiid's been playing really well. Like, he's getting his stats, he's getting his points, but it doesn't look as dominant, I think, as you would expect for him. So I mean, the Knicks just seem to want it more. It seems to be much more Hart, much more Josh Hart in the Knicks.
No pun.
Chris.
Yeah, dude, Josh Hart is probably the ultimate Tom Thibodeau player. I mean, the best player he's probably had since Luol Deng. 48 minutes. He's leading these playoffs at 45 minutes on average. He played 42 and then 48 in this game. Classic Thibodeau. Yeah, running his player into the ground. God, Hart is in
destroy those knees, buddy.
Destroy those knees, dude. Get him while you can.
Hope you like him.
Josh Hart, my 5th ranked best player in this playoff so far after 2 games. He's been fantastic. Yeah, 8 of 29 for Jalen Brunson. The guy's still throwing. The one shot that did go in was like this tip. Like, it tipped off the front of the rim and then just went in. And he even put his hands up like, oh my God, finally.
Yeah, finally got one.
So you can tell he's trying. He knows it's just not falling. It's just a classic, like, it's just not working right now. But no, like that, this was the game where the Sixers needed it. And the Knicks are going to win the series. Like, this is like, I think this is done. And I'm confident in that, even if I was a bigger Knicks fan. The Sixers, can anybody be more stupid of a franchise than the Philadelphia 76ers and the organization just not, doing questionable business practices outside of what some of their decision makings, but also with like filing a grievance against the NBA on behalf of because of the foul. Just let them play. This is the playoffs. Like, and Nurse almost called a timeout. He didn't, and then he decided to call a timeout. He's like, I called a timeout. It's like, we see it, Nurse. You did it right away. If you did it immediately, if you were really stuck to your guns, you would have gotten the call, but you didn't. So, in my opinion, I like that the Knicks won this game, and I think they're going to win the series.
Maybe your MVP and MIP could have, called timeout too.
Dude, that's
just saying.
This one, I am going to underreact to this one a little bit.
Okay.
I don't think this is over quite yet. I mean, I think the Knicks obviously have control and they should win the series. But I would not be surprised if this thing comes back to New York 2-2. So
I think I'm overreacting. This is good. I'm overreacting.
I'm underreacting right now. I mean, Brunson's not playing well. They're shooting the lights out in their place. And one last note on this series for me. I will say this, man. Madison Garden is something special. I was not a believer. I'll be the first. I've heard it so many times. Oh man, the garden. And I guess I just really never was aware for the Knicks being good. Like, in my lifetime, the Knicks have never been really particularly good. And man, that game 1 was something special though. Watching like just the way that arena looks, the way that the crowd is just packed in around all over, behind the goalposts and on the sidelines. I was like, man, all right. The Garden's cool, man. And I really do love good basketball, especially against the Sixers in the Garden. That's going to be fun. I really hope we get a game 7 there. That'd be fun. All right, let's keep it rolling. We got Thunder Pels who go tonight. 1-0 right now. Thunder at the end there snuck out a win over the Pels. Or CJ McCollum missed the 3 to win it, but didn't go down. Tough shot. Chris, any thoughts on this one so far? I mean, obviously very early. It looked like 2 teams that were kind of nervous, and maybe we don't know a lot about it. Maybe we'll find out more tonight. But Initial thoughts.
A lot of banging, man. A lot of banging on the glass. 18-8 off in O boards. 18 O boards for the Pellies. Jonas, I'm pretty sure you got no, you didn't get a 20-20. You got an 13 and 20. He had 9 O boards. This series is just going to be all about O boards, and that's been everybody's concern with the Thunder, right? It's just the fact that they can't in the glass. Holmgren, Chet, Minneapolis native, got 5 blocks in this game. Fantastic game by him. Larry Nance going up for the final shot. That was the moment where, like, all right, if Zion's here, I think the Pelicans win this game because I think Zion finishes that, whichever way he does, he would change the game. And I think the Pelicans could actually win this series if Zion was playing because of the stuff like that. So, but if Zion, this is kind of similar to the Pacers Bucks. If Zion doesn't come back, I think the Pelicans still have a better chance than the Bucks do, weirdly. But Trey Murphy's been fantastic. But I think it's at least a fun series. So
maybe this is going to be fun.
At least go 5 or 6.
Joey?
Yeah, I think maybe I'll give my overreaction on this one. I think game 1 was the game that the Pelicans needed in order to win the whole series, right? It was the first. It was the first game for the Thunder in this iteration of them in the playoffs, right? The lights looked a little bright for them too. 90 was it 98, 96 or whatever it was, or 99, 96, whatever, somewhere around there, 2 3-point victory. Like you guys have been there, right? Zion's out, but you've had some longevity in the playoffs the past 2 seasons. You've had some moments that have made people really think about you and your team as being kind of legitimate. I mean, there was 2 seasons ago, we were thinking when Zion wasn't in, when they were playing the Suns, it was kind of like, hey, maybe the Pelicans can win this series. Like, it's not impossible at this point. I think it had to be that. And I think the Thunder got a taste of it. They kind of figured, hey, this was getting the nerves out. This was kind of kicking the tires, figuring out where we're at. But I mean, once they taste it, it feels like blood's in the water, and they're going to come out tonight and just kind of lay the hammer down. I don't know why. I just had this feeling that Shea's not going to be that he was passive, but he's going to be more aggressive than he was, and he's going to be looking to put his stamp like Anthony Edwards did it in game 1. Shea's going to be looking to do it kind of in game 2 now.
Yeah, I like that. I kind of agree with you guys. I think this is still a little early to tell. Pels could obviously hang around here depending on how the Thunder go, but I do kind of feel what you're saying there, Joe. I think the Thunder kind of make it right tonight, and then we go into New Orleans 2-0. So
get it right.
But another exciting series, Clips Mavs, man, 1-1. Kawhi comes back for game 2. They lose, but they blow them out in game 1. Looked like the Mavs really weren't ready. Chris, what are your thoughts here, man?
How there's a stat that Luka said to stop playing, or told the players to stop playing help defense with him in the 4th quarter, and only 5 points were scored at him in the second half of this game. They won 96-93. Luka Doncic, man, really coming out defensively, underrated wise. So I was worried about this team after the first game because I don't remember what the exact points were, but it was like 66 of the 80 whatever points was Kyrie and Luka. They couldn't find a third option. Their third option this game is PJ Washington, who I feel like we always kind of liked. Hornets guy, kind of using trade rumors with the Bulls for a while. He got 18. Derrick Jones Jr., ex-Bull, getting 10. Dude, looking like an important starter. Daniel Gafford, getting minutes.
Ex-Bull.
Played with the former Bull as well. God damn. If only we had Luka, I guess. I don't know, but that game kind of turned the series for me. I'm going to overreact because I feel like I'm overreacting with the sense that I feel like the Mavericks going to take this series because Kawhi's back, but he's not really healthy.
Yeah, he looked.
Is he ever going to be healthy? I don't trust it anymore. I'm tired of it. We've been dealing with this for at least 4 years now. I like his shoes; they come wide. But other than that, I'm out. I'm out on the Clippers this series.
Other than those wide shoes, Chris
wide
is
New
out.
Balance.
Wide New Balances. Joey.
Do you know who else is sponsored by a New Balance?
Zach
Levine.
Zach
gonna get traded in the offseason. Levine.
There you go. No, defensive Doncic is a thing, right? Dallas defensive triple D.
Yeah, triple D, man. Diners, drives, and dimes over here.
The big D in Dallas. Oh,
big D in Dallas. Triple D, Doncic. Slapping the floor.
Yeah, I think game one was an anomaly for the Clippers, and mostly because Harden seemed to find a way to like turn back the clock and be hitting threes. And last night he had 22 last night, but it looked much more normal for what we've seen. Kawhi obviously had an off night, shot really bad from the floor. First game back in a while, but Kyrie and Luka are a lot. Like they're just a lot as a duo, and then you mix in, like you said, Chris, you mix in Gafford, and
one guy,
Derrick Jones Jr. It takes one, and they've got 3 or 4 guys at any moment can give you.
Cleveland can get you 20.
Yeah, it can give you a game, and Luka and Kyrie are going to give you the points every night, right? There's no doubt about that. And if you got Luka engaged on the defensive end, like this seems like a different kind of molded team. I also think this team is extremely desperate, right? Jason Kidd is absolutely desperate. Like I think they go out first round here, like that he's out, right? He's done.
He's fired.
This is kind of the final moment. Luka's got to be kind of looking around saying, wow, I finally have a team of like guys that should be willing to do something, right? It's always just been me in the playoffs, and right now it's not that. So like I feel like he's willing to give a little bit more, kind of put in more of a team effort, just from himself. Like he's getting guys involved, and he's not just looking to do hero ball himself. A lot of the points are coming more in like natural rhythm. So I don't know. Dallas seems like a weirdly scary team. And not just because they're like the best, but they seem like one of those teams that could, catch fire in a bottle at any given moment. And like if the chips fall the right way, they could make a little run.
Definitely agree with that. I think this series is going 7. I think this is going to be a back and forth battle the whole way. But
that would fit.
Man, it's going to be a tough one.
You've always been more of a Clippers guy, right? I feel like.
Who, me?
You, yeah. Or am I overreacting?
No, man. I don't. This is where I really don't like either of these teams particularly much. So
fair enough.
I've been a Kyrie guy, but he kind of lost me there for a while. All right, we're gonna go a little.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Yeah, he kind of
do.
He did a little too much. Kyrie. We're gonna go a little out of order here, so we can close with the home team here. But we'll start with Lakers Nugs. Another wild series, 2-0. Even though it was a photo finish there at the end, Jamal Murray made a shot, as Anthony Davis said. Drop the mic, Joey. We'll start with you here on this one. Is this a wrap, or do the Lakers got a little juice left when they get to LA?
The Lakers have zero juice. I'm just trying to understand how two guys with as much veteran experience as Anthony Davis and LeBron James come out of game 2 after being up 20 at some point in that game. And their biggest concern is, I'm going to do a mic drop and say Jamal Murray made a shot. And then I'm going to also go in hard about the refs, right? About officiating. And I'm going to focus in on one call that went to the replay center. It's like, hey, guys were up 20, right?
And that was like 8 minutes into the third, or something, right? It was like, it wasn't the end of the game even.
It wasn't even like the final 2-minute thing where there was like, they were up 2 and this changed the outcome of the game. Like, you guys had 20-point lead in this game. And like, I'm sorry, but you gotta look yourself in the mirror and accept that this failure was on you, right? And I get if Anthony Davis is like, hey, I don't really want to talk about this, but like the mic drop and like the get up and walk off, like, I mean, you sit there and be like, hey, yeah, he made a shot. Like, to me, yes, that bothers me. Just like stand up there and kind of take your beating. You're a professional athlete. Is kind of part of what you have to do. But at the same time, like those kind of reactions kind of tell at least me, like, this is where your head is at, and this is kind of how this is affecting you. Like, a lot of guys would be like, yeah, like we should have won that game and we let it slip away. And Murray hit a shot at the end. And if he doesn't hit that shot, like, this is tied 1-1 and we're going back to LA, and it's, it's not a big deal. Like, but, they seem like they're kind of crumbling and folding. And the thing that got me the most was at the last like 15 minutes of that game, of actual game time, the amount of layups that Jamal Murray had that were uncontested and just like looked really easy. And with LeBron kind of pointing, right, and Austin Reeves looked dead tired. Anthony Davis looked dead tired. It was just kind of like, as soon as the Nuggets started to come back, the Lakers just their heads went down. They were like, "Damn it, here it comes again!" Like we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And you kind of thought, "Hey, LeBron hit those back-to-back threes," and you're like, "All right, maybe they're going to hang on here." And it was just absolute.
Just the one that counted.
It was
I
just.
can't believe you missed that. Yeah.
So
yeah, that was just too open there. But
yeah, way too much wind out of the sails, way too much sucked energy out of them. I think this is rollover and die time for the Lakers.
Chris,
dude, Nikola. Does nobody just talk about Nikola's numbers anymore?
No,
they're
normal.
27, 20, and 10. He had one of the most insane triple doubles.
That's
2
ridiculous.
steals, 3
I hadn't even heard those numbers yet.
It's so dumb.
That's only the third time he's done them probably this season too.
Yeah. My favorite moment from this game was
I listened to 3 NBA podcasts this week and have not heard those numbers.
Nobody said that line.
Nobody said that line
2
out
years
loud.
ago, that would have been like, that's insane. Right, but there's a moment where I forget who missed the shot, but the Nuggets get the board, and then Jokic and LeBron are heading down the court. Jokic kind of pushes off LeBron, and then runs past him. LeBron's like, "Oh, I need to wake up," and Jokic gets a dunk, which the guy doesn't really dunk, right? So it's cool to see that happen. And then on the other hand, and Anthony Davis had his hands on his knees, just exhausted.
Yeah, he
just blew a 20-point game.
It's tiring work, my friend.
And then
that's tough.
That was tough. But LeBron,
tough.
if LeBron hit that 3, we would be talking about this game differently.
Yeah,
and he didn't. And that's the series. I'm overreacting. This is over. I don't even know because they had such slim margins. It was kind of like Cavs Warriors finals, with the JR play. There's such slim margins for LeBron to really take the series, and he needed this game.
Yeah,
they blew this. It's kind of, I think we can go even. They may even win game 3, but I still think it's curtains at 5. Then
curtains. Just for fun, I'm going to overreact the other way. I actually didn't mind AD's little hissy fit at the end. I think I kind of agree with what you're saying. Really, Joey, I think it's it's not a good sign. But I do kind of like that little bit of like, I'm pissed off about this. And I think they're pissed off that they blew a 20-point lead. I think LeBron knows. I mean, LeBron was playing great in that game, got him that 20-point lead, and they just could not stop him. I think they needed this one to have any chance to win the series, but I would not be surprised if they won a game or 2 in LA.
This goes back 2-2 to Denver.
No, I mean realistically,
okay.
No. I can't even overreact that hard. I can't even me, the LeBron fan, can't. But I would not be surprised at game 3. Pretty maybe not a definitive win because I don't think anybody's going to really beat the Nuggets like that. But a solid victory from the Lakers would not surprise me in game 3. It would surprise me if game 4 they won. But I don't think this is quite over yet. The Lakers play them tough. I think you're right, Chris. Their margin of error is just so slim that they can't mess up anything against this team. So maybe they get a game where they kind of get it all right and they push this thing to 5, but yeah, it's not looking great. That was the one to get there. So
it's tough.
But yeah, I think they maybe should have got the Thunder. They maybe should have done that move of lose the 7-8 game and try to beat the Kings.
We always clown the team that does it.
Yeah,
but I think it works out more often than it doesn't.
I think it does. It does. And I was thinking that after I saw the Thunder's game where they looked really scared, I'm like, man, if the Lakers had been playing them, that would have been. And then the pundits would have been going around. All right, can the Lakers win this? But all right, man, let's get to the main event here. Maybe one of the most fun series of all of them. I mean, obviously, besides Knicks.
This is easily number 1. Come on.
It's number 1 in our hearts here at the Box Out Boys. But homeboy was at game 1. He saw the trash talking in person. Chris, I'm just going to lay out here. What are you thinking here? Your Wolves up 2-0 against the Suns.
I'm thinking it's over in 4. We ain't coming back to Minnesota. It's over.
That's my boy.
I mean, what are we talking about here? Kevin Durant, he dropped 31.
Oh, you can have them.
You can have them. We were right all along. I don't know why we doubted ourselves last week.
Him, Devin, Beal.
You can have them. It don't matter. It don't matter. None of them can play. We got 3 guys on the court that are 6'5". They can kind of shoot, but they can't play any defense. You got Jaden McDaniels just driving the lane, getting 2-step, dropping 25. We got young little Scotty. 23 years old. Do we know Jaden McDaniels is 23 years old? It's not crazy calling Scottie Pippen, man. Scottie Pippen was like 23 into the league. So let this be a thing.
That
And we got Jordan and Anthony Edwards. I just love that this is becoming a thing. Luke Longley and Rudy Gobert. Let's go. We got this whole thing.
Where's Pax?
Whole thing going. I was trying to comp it with Conley's like a small Harper because Harper
he's like Harper.
He's like 6'6", right?
Small Harper.
And then Towns is like an offensive version of Dennis Rodman. Couldn't really find a good comp for Towns because
he's Winnington. Bill Winnington.
Good coach.
Will Purdue.
Will Purdue maybe. Kukoc is probably it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what Nas Reed is though. This Nas Reed thing is nuts. Nikhil Alexander Walker though. If we want to really talk about anyone, he's been the lightning bolt.
Now we're just listing players.
Right that the game was out. Luka Garza, he's been playing in both games. Great. No, that's a player you just named. But
guys,
I love this. I love that. I love seeing the three big men. My favorite part about going to the game is pregame with the warm-ups. You see the three big men on the court just hanging out, talking with each other, throwing up shots while Rudy's stretching his legs. And it's beautiful, man.
Like just putting up shots while Rudy stretches his legs.
Now, which part was your favorite? Was it the shots or the stretching?
That was
great question. I think it was the camaraderie of them just hanging out,
brotherhood.
So it's probably the stretching.
Stretching to help each other out.
Yeah. Now, was one of the big men stretching another big man? Were they?
No. He had the stretch band. You could put the stretch bands in between your knees, and Gobert was just getting his glutes going and his quads.
Let's get the glutes and quads
warmed up because he's been playing awesome. So the thing is with this series is that him and Towns, if they're able to make KD work for shots, not stop KD, just make him work. Go for like 10 of 21 for 30 points, whatever. But then you have Jaden McDaniels on Devin Booker and Ant on Beal. That's a huge advantage. The Thunder can't. Grayson Allen's not going to drop 30 every game, and he's hurt right now, so who knows?
Yeah.
Nurkic,
little bird ankles.
It's just not a thing. So I like this a lot for where we're at right now.
Joey, anything to add to that? I mean, just the pure joy from this guy right now is
it's pure joy. The momentum that the Timberwolves have taken from just a little bit, it doesn't take much for them to kind of get amped up, and I think that's been really fun. Like the first half yesterday wasn't that special. Wasn't anything to write home about. They were down 1, I think. Down 6 at halftime, or one or 6, whatever it was. But like they needed like 3 minutes in the third quarter, and like they weren't even up that many. They were just made a little bit of a run, and you could just see you could just see the confidence building. And then Anthony and Beal started, jawing at each other, and you could just like everything ramped up a little bit. And the Suns didn't react the right way at all. They started to get flustered. The shots started to stop falling. Booker was taking shots that you normally wouldn't see him take. I think he was kind of settling for contested threes, and the drives started to slow down, and it maybe a little bit of a home court advantage for the Timberwolves, but the Timberwolves have the intensity, I think, on the road to just ratchet it up, right? And then they're all playing together. Gobert's not getting played off the court.
Yeah, that's big.
By guys that should probably be.
How about Gobert this series? He had a fader in game 1 and then an and 1 in game 2. What is this?
Who is this guy?
He's been great. I mean, if you can't find a way
7 picks
from that team and those 3 guys to play him off the court, like you have no business hanging around this series. So
yeah,
I don't know if they don't have to come back to Minnesota. I think there's probably at least one game in the Footprint Center down there in Phoenix. For some reason, I don't know the name of that arena, but I think there's probably one game for them out there. But this is not.
I mean, one more. They have. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
like the Suns get a game out there.
I think the Suns get one.
Oh, I see. Okay, then we'd get in 5. Okay.
Yeah, I do. I think Chris is going to be at game 5.
Yeah,
himself, solo Chris.
I might just go by myself. Yeah,
that feels like a solo.
My first game for my 5.5-year-old daughter, it was great, but
you did it, man.
It was good. It's a good memory for her.
You check the list on the bucket. Now it's just solo Chris time.
Yeah, she likes baseball though. She wanted to go to a baseball game, so maybe I'll take her. You can run the.
Yeah, it's a little less boring than basketball. So
yes,
definitely
significantly more exciting.
She's not gonna watch. She doesn't even know what. Yeah. Anyways,
better food options though.
Better food options.
Food options at Target Center are lackluster. We're spoiled with
Chicago. Helmet ice cream is everywhere, right?
Yeah, Target Field's got better food options than Target Center.
Yeah. Chicago, you get the deep dish, you get the dogs.
You gotta get that shake, that milkshake at the White Sox.
Oh yeah,
Guaranteed
milkshake,
rate.
the lemonades. Even though we're going to
With
be
that?
sitting real close with the White Sox this year.
Yeah,
You could
they're
probably sit
gonna
on the
give
field
those.
if you wanted. They might not
Sit
even be.
yep.
They might
there.
need to pay me to go to those games. I don't know.
Tickets are cheap, dog. Let's just look them up. That's a different conversation, but yeah, all right, great. Maybe Chris gets one more game here, but I
I'm gonna
don't
save
know.
my money for game 3 next round. I'm just saying that right
Ooh,
now.
there we go.
Going-
There we go. He's confident.
go.
He's already buying the Wolves Nuggets, which we can maybe get into next week. But that's the conference finals, boys. That's the conference finals, I think.
Oh, it's gonna be so
Semis.
good.
Yeah.
The semis, even though it's in the semis, that's the one.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's winner take all there. All right, Joey, it's that time of year. The Bulls are no longer playing basketball.
Yep,
So
yep.
give us your top 10 lowlights and top 10 highlights if you were able to come up with 10. I know you said you were struggling this afternoon.
No, I found them. So what do you guys
found
want to do?
them.
Do you guys want to do ups first or downs first? Where do you want to start?
Yeah, let's do ups first. I want to end on a
Okay, you
sad
want
Yeah.
to end.
All right.
I want to end salty.
He wants to end down. All right. These are in no particular order because I just kind of wrote them out as I went. I didn't feel
Who
like we were
cares?
them because absolutely who the fuck cares. All right, number 1 on the up list. Bulls were 11-9 in games decided in a plus or minus 5-point window. It's basically clutch games this year.
They
Bulls
were a
were
clutch
pretty
team.
damn good. 11-9. It's pretty good, right?
Is that
Not bad.
good?
That's good.
It's
Where did
pretty
that
good.
rank them? What's the count?
I don't know, Chris, but it's pretty good.
All right.
Because
I
they
don't
won a
know,
lot more.
Chris.
They won a lot more close games than they should have. Okay.
It's fair. Oh, because their overall record. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
overall
They're
record.
overall
Wow.
shit.
They won
Yeah.
39 games. 11
a
of
lot of
those were
games are
within
probably
5 points.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want you questioning my list. Okay, this was a hard thing for me to do. I've done it now every
I'm just
year.
asking
we've
for
done this.
details. I'm not quite. Yeah.
I don't know, Chris.
I respect
personal
what you're
goal.
doing here. I'm just.
That's gonna be a great line. Be like, I like them. Two weeks in a row.
I don't know,
We have
Chris.
great lines. I don't know, Chris.
All right. Number 2, because Titus said it, and it makes sense. Kobe White was a finalist for MIP. It's pretty cool.
Hey,
Man,
it's pretty cool, man.
it's pretty cool. He was a plus 10 points per game, plus 2 in assists, plus 1.5 in rebounds against last year, and plus 13 in minutes per game. Usage was up, but Kobe White, by far, out of the 3 finalists that did it, dude got robbed.
I will say he was a more improved player. Maxey just got more time. Maxey was this good last year. He just got the minutes, and like people can say, "Oh, White just got the minutes." Kobe was not like this.
Maxey had the run when the Sixers were good, right? And the Sixers were cooking. He was right next to Embiid, right? He was right there with it. So I feel like if the Bulls had been better, Kobe would have had a better case. So maybe that's a down. Bulls failed Kobe White from getting MIP.
No, I'm going to be positive about that. He should have won.
He should have. All right, number 3. These are starting to struggle here. We're on number 3 and we're struggling, but I kind of went a little personal here. So Andre Drummond's 24.25 rebound game against Atlanta on a day after Christmas. It was a deep cut, but it was one of very few games where any player has gone for 20-20. So 24 points.
Oh, is that what we're doing? That just happened yesterday with Jokic, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, Jokic just does that. Nobody even mentioned it. Nobody even brought it up.
10 more assists.
But it's your highlight of the year. Okay.
It's number 3. It's number 3 on the ups. It's not the highlight. It's
we can't just now we're just fun.
I remember the game. I remember being excited. Vooch was out, so it was like Drummond's kind of like he was actually playing.
They really are like a.
This guy, man. I know. If the Bulls ever win, it's going to be tears from Joey.
It was an exciting moment. It was an exciting moment.
I
Number 4. Io's Ascension.
Okay. Yeah.
Ascension. Plus 4 points per game. Pretty good. 40% from 3. Shot over 4. It was like 40.8% from 3.
Take it.
How many attempts?
It was just over 2.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
It was decent. Minutes were up though, and his downhill attack was good. He was the only player on the team that actually seemed to be playing it in transition. Kobe played a little bit, but it was more downhill, kind of out of a set. Iowa seemed to be the guy that was kind of getting out in transition, and that was something that I think they were lacking all season. Since Lonzo has gone, they've been a really bad team in transition. Now seem to be kind of actually driving into that. And for a second season, I think it was a pretty good year. His minutes were up, picked up a pretty big load. I was happy. I was excited.
Iowa's Ascension.
Number 5. Bulls were 2-0 against the Minnesota Timberwolves this season.
Wow, that
Oh,
feels personal.
Wow.
That feels personal.
Yeah. 129,
That second one
123
was
overtime
rough.
win and a 109-101 win towards the end of the season.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, hey,
You kept them from the 1 seed.
those were
Yeah, feel
positive
good about
moments
that?
for me.
Yeah, no,
'Cause
that hurts.
I was looking for moments to get up during the season, and these were moments that I found a way to get
Could have
up.
been the
So,
1 seed if it wasn't for the Bulls.
fuck yeah, man. Luka could have had the record for triple doubles too. Wasn't for the Bulls. Number 6.
He had 27 that game.
Yeah, well,
It wasn't 30.
Caruso had a career offensive season. It's kind of weird. Didn't really seem like it.
Okay.
But he did.
Offensive season.
He shot 60% effective field goal percentage, 40% from 3. He was up 5 points per game.
Man,
he shot a
Last
lot
playing
more
good.
threes. He was shooting almost 5 attempts per game from 3. He looked, obviously his defensive effort was, unparalleled, same as has always been, just kind of the crazy Crash Bandicoot style, locking down whoever you put him on. But he was much more engaged on the offensive end this year. I thought there was particular moments of games where you just saw him taking 3-pointers and taking shots that normally he wouldn't take. Part of that is right. Zach wasn't there, but Caruso stepped into a role, I think, that I think is going to hurt him in the long run, because I think the Bulls are now going to view him as much more valuable than he is. I mean, he's valuable, but they're going to be willing to
trade everybody,
latch onto him right there.
2-3 first-round picks.
Yeah, they're like fucking leeches, and they've leached onto him, and they're going to suck the blood out of him until he is no longer worth anything to anybody. But he had a really good season.
On team.
Yeah, I mean, he was really
He
fun
would be
to
the
watch.
third best player on the Lakers right now, though. Right?
Yeah, he would be.
Yeah.
But maybe a few other teams.
Lakers are a contender with Caruso.
For a guy who's on the contract that he is and is known for defense, I mean, looking at his offensive stats compared to his career, he had a much better season. So he gets the number 6 on the list. Number 7, DeMar, a finalist for Clutch Player of the Year. Funny, you can go on NBA.com and you can actually find stats for players in the clutch. I guess it makes sense that they have a Clutch Player of the Year. But for players over 15 plus games in the clutch, DeMar was number 1 in clutch points at 4.6 points in the clutch on average. I don't know if that's relative. I mean, he was the most. It seems like kind of a low number, but overall it was there. 48.7% from the field goal percentage, in the clutch. And the thing that stood out to me, 46.7 3-point field goal percentage in the clutch. So attempts were low, right? Pretty low attempts. But again, you're looking at a very small sample size because you're looking at just clutch time minutes. Bulls played a lot of those games this year, but he's up there with Shea and Steph as finalists for that award. I feel like he might be a lock to win this. The Bulls played the most clutch games of anybody in the league, and had a pretty.
He just won't win it because the Bulls were a bad team.
We're a terrible team.
He should win it. I agree.
The Warriors
should win it
either.
That's the thing, yeah. But
Shea might win this. But
I think JJ Redick picked Steph Curry to win this award. I was like, his reasoning was like, because they're good. It's like, yeah. Anyways,
well, I mean, record-wise, I'm sure they're better than the Bulls.
They had 46 wins compared to 30. Was 35? The Bulls pretty low.
39, something like that.
Was it 39? All right.
Wasn't good.
But for a team that struggled to win close games in the past, it was finally good to see them winning some games. And DeMar,
is he worth $40 million per year?
He's actually no, but he was actually being effective in the clutch. I think this year more than others, we saw him being kind of a ball hog and dominant. But he was making shots this year. It wasn't just a highlight moment. So number 8, I'm grasping here, guys. I'm grasping, but
you're at 8 though. You
made it.
Going to do like 5.
There was a point on the road on a West Coast trip. The Bulls won 3 in a row against Sacramento, Utah, and Golden State. I do remember this. I was pretty damn excited. This was kind of the moment. It was
3 mid teams.
Oh my god!
It was in March.
Okay.
It was in March.
I think we're doing too much here.
I don't know. It was kind of a moment.
Let's get these last 2 out.
I thought there was some hope building. Right? There was some hope building.
True Blue Joey there.
This is my top list.
It's my list.
This is my time.
Chris is having his time. Let me have more time.
No, this is like Joey. Like, this is my time.
Number 9 moment. The November 30th overtime win against Milwaukee. This was actually, I remember this one. DeMar was out.
Wow.
Caruso hit a tying 3 at the buzzer to force overtime. They outscored Milwaukee 14-7 in overtime. Vooch had 29, Kobe had 23. It was just like one of those games. It was early enough on in the season that was like there was still some hope. The record was kind of struggling at the point. Giannis was playing, Dame was playing. Chris left the chat.
He left the chat.
But this was a moment. I remember the buzzer beater from AC. Just it was pretty good. And then number 10, since I'm going quickly, since you guys are over me.
10 good ones though.
Comebacks and blown leads. So they had 37 comeback wins this year.
Oh wow!
Comebacks being down.
They got down a lot.
Right. At any point,
39 wins total.
They had 10 wins of being down 10 plus points. So I'm going to give them
just down every game.
I'm going to give them.
They should have gone 0-82.
They should have.
They had 39 wins total.
But the real piece in this is the comeback to blown lead stat is last year they had 14 blown leads when they were up 10 plus points at one point in the game. 14 last year. This year they only had 10 guys. They only had 10.
Wow. All right. They really cut that down.
You know what's funny is actually looking at this, they were middle of the pack. So there's a lot of teams that actually blow 10-point leads, like good teams.
Well, the 10-point lead is easy to blow.
Yeah.
That feels like
it is.
It should be a 20-point
They were down
lead. It should be
4. Okay.
That's that.
All right, let's go to the downs because these are much more entertaining. Number 1 down. They lost all 4 games of the in-season tournament.
Wow.
They lost. Yeah, you guys forgot about this, didn't you? You already.
I was at the one.
Yeah, they lost 107-109 to the Nets.
Yep.
They lost 97-103 to the Magic, 108-121 to the Raptors, and then the cherry on top, they lost 124-97 to the Celtics. Because if you remember, the Celtics were playing for point differential at this point for the tiebreaker,
right, yeah.
And they left their starters in. And our esteemed head coach Billy Donovan didn't understand why the starters were still playing for the Celtics. So that was good. Number 2, they started the season 6-14 with losses to the Pistons, the Nets, and the Raptors in that little stretch there.
Oh, this is
they still covered the over,
and they still managed to cover the over. So there was some moments. Number 3, they were 18-35 against teams with a winning record. Not even sniffing.
Not even sniffing 500 there.
Not even sniffing 500 or being comparable. Number 4, this is probably Chris's favorite down of the season. It might be Titus's too, but the Bulls lost to the Pistons game 2 of the season by 16 points, with Zach scoring 51, career high for him.
No assists.
After that game, I told Pro to be like, just take the under. This Bulls team is cooked.
This is a lock.
Yeah.
Well, screwed him out of some money.
Screwed him out of some money. Should have listened to me. Number 5.
You should listen to me.
The Andre Drummond, Torrey Craig, alley-oops.
Had to be there. Alley-oops. That's a legendary, man. That's going down the history of NBA.
Number 6, losing by 21 to Miami in a do-or-die game.
Who won tonight over the Celtics? Got the series 1-1.
We should react to that after this. That's
personally, but
I fully understand if you lose that game coming off a super high against the Hawks, right? Kobe has a career night. Everything is, super high, right? And then you go to Miami, who has this weird ability to like beat teams on their absolute highest point. But to go in there and lay the egg that you did and lose by 21 is just it's an absolute embarrassment. Like the coaching staff should have been laughed out of town at that exact.
Let's run it back.
I don't know, man. The best team in the league just lost in game 2 on their home floor. So that feels like maybe the Heat, maybe the Bulls lost it. Maybe it's not so bad. Maybe we should put this as a plus.
Maybe we should still run it back. Maybe Titus is right. Sign DeRozan.
Sign DeRozan, $40 million in 3 years.
Yeah. You don't have to talk about it. It's already going to happen.
Right. Run it back.
You don't have to think about it.
He doesn't accept it.
In their losses, their average margin of loss was 11.5 points this season.
That's double D's.
Wow. Okay.
And they had 15 plus point losses this season.
Ooh.
I included the Miami one in there because it was painful enough.
Yeah, still a lot. Man.
It's a lot. It's a lot. There were a lot of 20-pointers in there. There were like 6 of them. So that was pretty tough. Number 8, the offseason additions, the 2 big offseason additions were absolutely useless. Javon Carter, that was supposed to be a good signing, right?
I forgot about Javon Carter.
That was supposed to help with 3-point attempts and, hey,
spread the floor.
For the floor.
Yeah, he played just under 14 minutes a game and averaged 5 points a game. Real solid. Torrey Craig,
up there with Dame, I guess.
Torrey Craig played 53 games, missed a lot of time, averaged under 20 minutes a game, and had a solid 5.7 points per game.
Solid.
All right. Carnivorous, whatever your name is.
Real big. Right. Joke. Number 9, injuries. Patrick Williams plays 43 games. Obviously, that's a tough one. And even though I jokingly support Zach a lot. I like him, but I don't,
Yeah, I don't like him.
kind of a bit. But he played 25 games, and no matter how you feel about him, for a guy you're paying that much money, and like in a time where you kind of need to see like,
25?
is this going to be it? He played 25 games this season, so he missed a stint early in the season, like 10 games, and then he came back for like 10 games. Then he was done. So same injury, right? Went out with the foot, came back, then went down and stayed out. So
had to have surgery.
Yeah.
And then
number 10, this might be the one. So you're just looking at the advanced stats as a whole. So the Bulls overall at the end of the season ended up with the 25th ranked strength of schedule.
Okay. So that's
they had an easy schedule.
They had an easy schedule.
Okay.
Which makes sense because who's in their conference?
Yeah.
Pistons,
Wizards, Hornets. Pistons are also in their division, so you see them multiple times or more than multiple times. So pretty easy schedule, relatively speaking. The Bulls were 26th in 3-point attempts. They were 28th in pace and 21st in defensive rating.
That's not a good recipe for victories.
So putting it all together, you ran a team out there that isn't competitive. I don't know how they stumbled. How did they stumble into 39 wins is beyond me.
They're the worst.
Well, they're a try-hard. They're the worst possible team to be.
Yeah, they're in a really bad spot. They're in basketball hell.
Blow it up.
It's worse than any other team in the league. I think.
Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah.
They can't blow it up because they've signed these guys to
Atlanta.
big deals and long deals. Keep in mind. So we'll
Well,
see what they do in the offseason. But
Washington.
Trade everybody.
Maybe
overall
Washington's the only other
impressions
team worse.
on this season, this might actually be one of the seasons that I've been the lowest. I didn't have an actual definite high moment of this season. I think all along I knew it was going to be painful. The only time I think maybe there was a sniff of hope was when Embiid went down and the Sixers were sliding, and there was that moment where they were 3 games out of 7, and I was like, oh man, hey,
here we go.
There's a chance, right? And it was the Bulls had won 3 in a row, and that's why I put that one in there, because they had won that 3 in a row on the West Coast trip, and I was like,
yeah,
oh shit, 3 in a row on a West Coast trip, that's not easy to do for a team, and they're doing it. Maybe they're gonna string something together here. Maybe they're gonna at least play 500 through the back half of the season, and they didn't, nonetheless. And then they broke our hearts as usual. But some positives: Kobe White.
Hurt.
I'll say it here first. Kobe White might be
good.
Might be a cornerstone. You keep around.
Is Lonzo back next year?
I don't know a cornerstone, but he's
what are we talking about?
A nice piece.
For the Bulls, in terms of what they're going to do, he might be the cornerstone. Let's be honest. They're not
a problem.
They're not changing this anytime soon.
Io and Caruso is the backcourt.
That's likely what we're looking at for the next 3 years. With Vooch, don't forget Vooch, because he's there for
Zach.
2 more.
I was just talking about the guards.
Yeah, but all these guys are coming back. We're just running this back.
I could see Zach just being pulling a James Harden and be like, I'm not playing anymore. I'm over it. You guys dangled me in trade talks, and then I had to fake an injury, so I didn't go to the Pistons. I'm not interested.
If he doesn't get traded in this offseason, that's going to be a problem.
It might not happen.
He's not going to get traded.
The problem is that the Bulls are in a terrible lose-lose because of how they did this.
Yeah.
If they don't trade him, you're going to be like, you guys are terrible. If they trade him, they're going to get
nothing for him.
Absolutely terrible picks.
No, you don't just sign the guy to the largest contract in your franchise history and then trade him a year later. They're not.
Why? See, this goes back to my original point of they should have never signed him. They should have never signed him.
Yeah.
No, they should you just go. This isn't the guy. I'm sorry. Because now, how's that contract looking now?
Yeah,
it's great. Yeah. I hate to be the I told you so guy, but I told you guys. Anyways, blow it up.
Hindsight's 2020. In that offseason, there wasn't anybody.
I was looking at it right down the barrel, and I said, "This is in the moment. Don't sign him."
I think
And
the
everybody told
biggest
us I was a
failure.
fool.
I think the biggest failure of this era of the Bulls. I think Zach is number 2. I think number 1 is failing to identify how serious the Lonzo Ball thing was.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Because they signed Zach assuming Lonzo was going to miss like 3 months of that season, right? He was going to be back in January, and it was going to be, hey, we're just going to get right back to where we left off when Lonzo went down. It's all just a little bit of a waiting game, and the fact that they misdiagnosed that so bad, I think, is the biggest failure that this organization has in this iteration.
And what they need to do is not compound it by signing DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, but DeMar puts
trading for Trae Young.
Bulls were first in attendance this season.
They were first.
They were number 1 in attendance this season.
I'm not going to any more Bulls games.
DeMar puts asses in seats. He does.
I told him,
he's going to get the money, dude. Okay, let's talk.
The money. We got to talk about it. We should end this episode because it's
Heat Celtics live reactions. Game 2, 101.
I didn't watch the end of it, but they lost by 10 points. So,
any quick reacts? I want to watch the game still because
I want to watch the game.
Very fascinating, but I still think Celtics in 5 or 6, right?
Yeah, 5 or 6.
Maybe we'll talk. Yeah, we'll
talk next. Let's see. We got to come back. But Joey, anything on that? Anything on Heat Celtics?
No,
loving it.
No, I'm just depressed now because this is the second time I had to look at my list today.
I know that's why we should have started with that.
We should have started with that. And high note. I wanted to be.
The ups weren't that up.
It's
the ups weren't that high, so it would have taken me a little while to come off. It's all right. It's all right, guys.
It's all right.
I'll be back. I'll be back in October and
ready to go.
I'll forget it all.
DeMar, you know what? I think 2 for 40 is not that bad.
I mean, who else is gonna get you 28 a game?
He's clutch player of the year.
Find me a guy. That's it.
Yep.
Clutch player of the year. Who's gonna give me 28 a game?
All they gotta do is keep close. All they gotta do is keep close.
Hang the banner.
Clutch player of the year. Clutch player of the year. Retire the number. Well, that was a fun show for us. That is it for us tonight. Follow us on the social medias at the Box Out Boys. Slide on those DMs. Be sure to subscribe and rate and review on YouTube and Spotify. I'd very much appreciate that. So until next time, a box out.